A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, thank you very much for joining us, and it's lovely to have you here with us today. And I'm really pleased to be able to share today with Gitanjali Goel. And Gitanjali has been a homeopath for a good many years now.
Yeah,
Gitanjali,
it's been 25 years.
25 years, my goodness. And you've been with Homeopathy 24/7 right from the start.
From the beginning, yes.
Yes, yeah.
One of the founding members, you can say.
Yeah. And of course now that is 5 years. We've been going
Yes.
5 years, which is incredible, isn't it?
Definitely.
And you have been doing such a lot. You've been doing webinars, you've been writing ebooks, you've been setting up groups. You have a busy life.
Yes, definitely. Very busy life. Even holidays were not holidays.
No.
We were super busy during holidays too.
It's a great thing about actually being in a career which we enjoy so much. It's a life, isn't it? It is our life.
Yeah. And I enjoy this life. That's the beauty.
Exactly. Yeah, we are so lucky, aren't we?
Yes.
So today you are going to talk to us about SIBO, and we've got quite a lot to cover on this topic because it's huge, isn't it? Can you begin just by explaining what exactly we mean by SIBO?
Yeah, SIBO, I will start very simple. I would say just think of your digestive system like a super organized kitchen. Now you have got your spices in one drawer, you've got pots in another, and everything is where it should be. Now imagine if someone dumped all your pots and spices into the fridge or any other cabinet where you do not keep them, it would be a chaos, right? That's essentially what happens with SIBO. Our microbiome, we all know that our gut is made up of billions or trillions of microbiomes. Those microbiomes, aka bacteria, that are meant to live in your large intestines, where they help break down fiber and produce beneficial compounds. But in SIBO, these bacteria migrate to your small intestine, a place where they are not supposed to be. It is like uninvited guests showing up to a party and eating all the food before everyone else arrives. So this bacterial overgrowth disrupts your digestion, leads to symptoms such as bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, and even systemic issues like fatigue and brain fog. There is a big connection between our gut and brain. So you get those kind of symptoms as well. So these bad bacteria, they produce gases such as methane and hydrogen that mess with the motility of your gut. Basically, the way your gut should, like the intestinal movements that should help to digest your food, and it affects the motility of that. And hydrogen gas is like a sprinter that speeds up the things, and you might end up with diarrhea. And methane gas, like if you your gut is producing, like those bacteria are producing more methane gas, on the other hand, is a very slow poke. It slows down everything and it leads to constipation, and you end up skipping days, like you can't go. So these gases change the way your gut moves food along.
Okay, this is so interesting, isn't it? Because let's face it, those symptoms are very, very common. And a lot of people that we talk to and a lot of our clients will have these symptoms as well. So tell me, is this something that comes on quickly, or is it something that develops slowly over time?
It develops slowly over time. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead.
What might be the cause of it? What is knocking the system off balance, do you find?
Okay, so basically, how this happens, like I will again take another analogy. So I would say that imagine like your gut is like a clean highway that needs to be regularly swept to keep the traffic flowing. This highway sweeper is called the migrating motor complex in our gut health, like in our gut. That needs to come out every few hours when you are not eating, cleaning up any leftover food or bacteria. But if you are snacking all the time, like we had something in the breakfast, then again snack, then lunch, then again snack, then something in the evening before getting to our supper. So we keep on snacking all the time. Then what happens? This highway never gets a chance to clear. So this means bacteria can get stuck, they start overgrowing. So limiting snacking is actually a big help when it comes to healing from SIBO. So another factor can be stress. Stress is always a bigger factor. I always say all our like physical conditions basically are the manifestations of our emotional health. So basically what happens when you are stressed, your body produces cortisol, and that cortisol interferes with your gut's ability to manage bacteria. So it is like having a bad traffic controller who can get things in order. So that's how we get SIBO.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Gosh, it's quite complex, really, isn't it? So, let's think about let's start with somebody has been noticing that their gut health is not as it should be. Will it be affecting their appetite at all?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Will it be affecting their appetite? Will it be affecting how much food they want to be eating?
Yes, definitely. It will affect their appetite. Like if they are clogged all the time, there can be like, because we all are individuals, everything is like we are very different from other persons. In the same way, when we are suffering from something, we react to that situation differently. It is not like one size fit all. Basically, like if one person is having constipation, that person can be irritated and not feeling like eating at all. But at the same time, the other person can be happy, jolly, doesn't matter. I didn't go. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't matter. 3 days, 4 days, even a week. It
Yeah.
doesn't affect them. They are not irritated. But like they will feel the symptoms like bloating, like they keep on farting, belching, those kind of things will happen. But emotionally, they are happy. But some people emotionally very irritated with those symptoms. So that's how where our homeopathy also plays a big role, the differentiating between the two individuals with the similar kind of symptoms. So both two individuals are having constipation, and but emotionally they are reacting differently. So that's where the homeopathic remedies play based on the individuality.
Okay, so this is huge then as well, isn't it? So as always, we are looking at how these symptoms are affecting you emotionally and physically. We're looking at the different ways that symptoms come out with you,
Yes.
because the symptoms might be very different for you than they are for me. And so we're looking at the whole health as well, because obviously what else is going on in the body is going to affect how
Yes,
high these symptoms are noticeable as well, isn't it?
definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about what homeopathy can do. I mean, first of all, how are we've got 5,000 and more remedies. So how are we going to decide what sort of remedies are going to be useful?
Yeah, like for the quick fixes, like what we say, the acutes, like if someone is having diarrhea, someone is having constipation, we can look for the remedies like arsenicum album, calcarb, nux vomica. Those are the main remedies to treat the acute symptoms. But when it comes to treating this like for a long term, like you want to get rid of that bacteria, so in that case, like I would suggest that you need to see a homeopath, because homeopath can look beyond those acute symptoms. They can try to dig out the root causes, like what has been happening in the body, why in the first place you got the SIBO, like had you been snacking really, or you had been stressing out, like what is the main issue behind. I have seen people like where they have the stress during their childhood, but symptoms didn't show up until their late 20s or late 30s, or even after getting married or having children. There were no symptoms. They were having constipation. Like sometimes I feel like amazed. Like people have been telling me that they could not go like a past stool for like 7 days. Like it was, and it has been happening since their childhood,
Okay.
and they have learned to live with it. But
Yeah.
now they are in their late 30s, and now it is all symptoms. They are giving them a lot of problem, and now they want to do something about it.
Okay. So let's just go through that and explain to everybody what exactly you mean. So by acute symptoms, you mean the symptoms which you are experiencing today. We would be able to give a first aid remedy, and those remedies are specific to either diarrhea or to constipation or to rumbling tummies and lots of noise and gas, and we would choose a first aid remedy. But so that is something that you might be able to say, oh, I know that remedy helps me feel better. But the way homeopathy works, what we really want to do is address the original cause. And what you're saying is the original cause might have happened 30 years before.
Yes, it might have happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to go back to that time and have a look and give you the remedies that were prevalent, that would have really helped you at that time 30 years ago. And that will help you stop carrying those symptoms right up until today.
Yes.
Gosh. Okay. So, and this is the reason you are saying to do that. It's not first aid prescribing. You can't do it for yourself because you need to go back through your whole health history and choose different methods of prescribing, different ways of finding the right remedies, and maybe looking at inherited susceptibilities, maybe looking at traumas that have happened in childhood, looking at how your body has been reacting emotionally and physically through that time in order to treat way back then.
Yes.
In order
And
for the
yeah, and another thing like which I forgot to mention, sometimes these, like like when you get sick, like just for a flu or something like that, and you get a course of antibiotics, the one course of antibiotics get like does a like do a very big damage on your gut health. Like it wipes out all the good bacteria. So what you need to replenish your bacteria. And sometimes people, they take just the probiotic just to help themselves with that. But if you are dealing with SIBO, I just want to mention it specifically here. When sometimes probiotics can actually worsen SIBO by adding fuel to the bacterial fire.
Yes.
Like there are some sport-based probiotics which can help you support gut healing. But here also we have a very beautiful homeopathic remedy, which is polyvowel Nosode. That is very, very helpful to replenish the gut bacteria, to balance the gut bacteria. It also helps with the healing of the gut lining.
Okay, just repeat that remedy again for me. Otherwise, I'll get 100 emails saying, what was that remedy?
Sure. It is polyvowel Nosode.
Okay, so we'll put that in the notes underneath. And obviously, that's not a mainstream remedy at all. It's not something that people would be self-prescribing, and they wouldn't be able to buy it themselves. They'd probably have to buy it through a homeopath. So that's a really interesting point as well. The fact that the remedies that are available in the high street, in the shop, on Amazon, are not all of the remedies that a homeopath prescribes. And those remedies come from a homeopathic pharmacy, which produces them and sells them to homeopaths, basically. So people just need to understand the difference with that. So imagine that somebody has been managing this symptom and not really worrying about it, but then something else has happened. So they've been to their doctors, they've had antibiotics, and then suddenly their whole intestine system is really playing up now. So this is when we're suddenly realizing, well, actually, you've always had this, but your body has coped. But
Yes.
now your body is not coping. So we need to really go deep to help you heal. And your body can heal. That's the wonderful thing about it,
Yes,
isn't it?
definitely. Yeah, body can heal itself. It has the capacity to
Okay.
heal itself. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so tell me, let's talk through a case or two. Tell me what type of people would come to you and the symptoms and what you're asking them.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about a case like uh, when she came to me, she was 35 years old, and she was completely at her wit's end because for years she has been battling with constant bloating, sluggish digestion, and unshakable fatigue that just wouldn't go away. And she would jokingly used to say, I feel like I've swallowed a balloon and it just refuses to pop. But underneath that humor, I could tell that she was exhausted physically, mentally, and emotionally as well. So she had tried all kinds of diets, you name it, like it was a keto diet. She got rid of dairy and gluten from her diet. Like she was not taking anything. She had been to doctors, many doctors had been taking prescribed medications, but as soon as she stopped them, and she was feeling worse again. And like she was cutting out every single food because she was doing the elimination diets too, but nothing really made a lasting difference. So during our initial consultation, we dug deep into her symptoms, her lifestyle, her history, her health history, her emotional history, her childhood traumas, her workplace, like what kind of work she is doing, because sometimes that also gives us a few clues. If we are working in a toxic environment, like sometimes people are working in the plumbing industry or the paint industry, so from there we can get some clues. And I also asked about what kind of medications she has taken, any kind of antibiotics, steroids, even birth control pills. Like there are so many pharmaceutical drugs that can really mess up with your gut microbiome, and your gut microbiome kinds of gets confused, like where I should be and how it should be. There is no balance. Like now and when you start taking probiotics on your own, because she also started taking them, you don't know actually which kind of probiotic you actually need. What is the how do you know that you need this one, or you are just taking it on your own and you are just increasing what you already have, and you are never getting the one which you actually need. So that's the problem there also. So you should always consider doing some testing, which gives you a little clue that which one is actually needed by your body. So after that, I also asked her uh, to do the test, like which is the breath test.
Okay.
It is the test to find like if you actually have SIBO.
Okay.
So we did that test, and her results came back like and showed the elevated methane levels, which helped me understand why she's having persistent constipation. And there's a sensation of, she used to say, there is a brick in my stomach, like that kind of feeling there in her, like always, like I feel there is a brick, I have kept a big brick in my stomach. And so instead of resorting to harsh antibiotics, when we took the gentler, natural approach, I started her on few targeted homeopathic remedies to address the symptoms and to restore balance to the gut. And those remedies were like, I gave her lycopodium for bloating and discomfort, but I gave those remedies just to help with the acute situations. These remedies were not helping in the long run, because for the long run, like there were so many remedies, like it was a full I wouldn't say it protocol, but I will say it's a personalized approach to her case, like where I gave her 5 or 6 remedies, like which she has to take throughout the 6 weeks period. And then I saw her again after 6 weeks to reassess her symptoms. uh, because there was need for the mental calmness too. So there we use tissue salts to help the mental calmness. And if there is any other remedies needed, I also gave her the polyvowel Nosode, which I just mentioned there. But I won't be going into the whole detail which remedies she was given, but because every person's individualized approach is very, very important in homeopathy, and don't want people to start taking remedies on their own. So along with that, I also asked her to start doing the low FODMAP diet again, to give her gut a little bit break from the foods that were triggering excessive fermentation and gas production. But I assured her that this diet wasn't forever. So it was just a short-term tool to calm the chaos in her gut while we worked on the root causes.
And
So,
just before we go on, just to explain, this diet is an elimination type diet and low carbs, is that right? So that it's not feeding
yeah,
bacteria.
it's a low carb diet. It is basically when you have SIBO, like they usually tell people not to take certain carbohydrates that ferment in the gut, like bananas, garlic, honey, blackberries. Those are the easy food for the bacteria in your small intestine to munch on. So which usually like feeds the problem when you have an overgrowth already. So I just told her to avoid those foods for a certain time period, and she did that. And within just a few days, or we can say a few, like when she came back, like for her second follow-up, like just the second follow-up, she told me that she is not feeling that bloated. She is able to pass the stool, like she is not skipping days, like almost every day she was going, like initially like she was not able to go, like skipping 3 days in a row, and now she was skipping just one day in a week, like she was on the mend. Basically we were just like, then again I tweaked remedies again and continued the treatment. She is still under my care, but like she's doing very, very well, like
Okay, but
she feels empowered now.
what's amazing about that is you can go for years and years and years, and it's really getting too much. And then within 6 weeks, within 2 months, you're
Yes.
noticing huge, big differences that are ongoing. So we're not just talking about giving a remedy when it feels like this. We're talking about not getting those symptoms.
Yes.
Which is incredible, isn't it? And which shows that, the body is adjusting long term, and that's what this is about.
And she was able to wear beautiful dresses, like which she was not able to wear before. So
Okay.
it was a big achievement for her.
Yes, yeah. And that in itself makes you feel so much better, doesn't it? You can wear
Yes.
the clothes that you want to wear. So tell me, Gitanjali, do people know that they've got SIBO? Do they come to you saying, I have been diagnosed with this, or do they not know?
Sometimes people know and sometimes they don't know. Sometimes doctor is like whosoever they are seeing before, like coming to me, their doctor is like always like kind of proactive, like they ask them to go do a test, like, which is a very simple test. It is called the lactulose breath test. And basically in this test, like they give you a drink, a drink which a solution, basically it has the specific sugars like glucose or lactulose, and then they ask you to breathe into a tube at regular intervals. So if there is bacteria in your small intestine that is producing this hydrogen or methane gases, those gases will show up in your breath. So it's basically the type of gas can also gives you a clue. Hydrogen dominant SIBO often leads to diarrhea, and methane dominant SIBO leads to constipation. And there is another newer type called hydrogen sulfide SIBO, which can present with a unique symptoms like a rotten egg smell in your breath or in stool. And if you know, like I know that sure, like you know it, like we have a very specific remedy for this rotten egg smell stool.
Yes, we do. Uh, and yeah, so basically what you're saying is you will start to think, oh my goodness, what's going on because of your breath smell or your stool smell.
Yes.
And it's very, very specific. But sometimes you're going to your healthcare doctor, because of other symptoms, because of other things that are making you so uncomfortable, and he might say, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah, but like they're still like not too much into this SIBO area yet.
Okay.
They just keep you like giving, if you have constipation, they're the constipation remedies, like, laxatives.
Yeah.
Like,
So actually, if you do go to your mainstream doctor, what do they generally do? Are they just treating the symptoms like the constipation?
just symptoms. Yes, they will give you some laxatives for the constipation. If you have diarrhea, they will give you something to stop the diarrhea. That's
Okay.
it.
So
They
they're
don't
not
go into the root causes, basically.
able to do anything about your gut health. Okay. Okay, that's worth knowing, isn't it? That's really interesting. All right. So brilliant. I mean, fantastic that, you have this experience and that you're seeing people and that people are, because I find that our audience, the people listening here, the people in our Facebook groups are becoming so aware and much more observant about what's happening in their body, aren't they? They're learning to understand that each symptom means that something's wrong.
Yes. Symptoms are just the signals. Our body is sending the signals, but behind the scenes, some different stories brewing. Like, you have to really dig out that story to find like what is actually happening, why we are seeing this.
Yes, exactly. And then that we covered at the beginning, the fact that something that happened years and years ago might not have been bothering you too much. Other things have been going on, you've been more healthy, but something else can bring this to the surface and make it a lot worse for you years and years later. And the amazing thing about homeopathy is that even if it is something that was caused years and years and years ago, we can do something about it. We can help your body heal, because that's what homeopathy is doing, really, isn't it? It's working with your body's own balancing system.
Yes.
It's amazing. That's fantastic. Well, I think, Gitanjali, that we're actually going to hit the button on quite a few people here are going to think, oh my goodness, I have these symptoms. So it certainly is something that we need to talk about, isn't it? And we need to be talking to people about how their symptoms express and how homeopathy can help just realign that body again so that their body can work perfectly again.
Yes, definitely. It is really people have to be mindful of what they eat, listen to their body, and sometimes make sacrifices like skipping those garlic bread at dinner or something like that, and approach a homeopath like who can help you definitely improve your symptoms and make your life better again.
I should think that you are continually talking to people in your gut group, because I know that you've got a Facebook group for gut health. The fact that we are getting a lot more symptoms because of the way food is produced these days, it's very different than the way food was produced 30 years ago. And in fact, some people don't realize that. They think, well, why? Why can't I cope with bread? Because I could 30 years ago. And it's a big thing, isn't it? It really is affecting us.
Definitely, like if we go back, like our grandparents, even our parents, they never said that gluten is a problem. Now everybody is saying gluten is a problem. So gluten, basically, the problem is not just with the gluten. I feel that it is with the all that kind of wheat spray, like which is kind of sprayed on our like the wheat too. So that's how like we are getting affected more. Like organic, I don't know how much organic people can afford or can eat, and we really don't know if the organic food is organic.
But still, the organic wheat has been changed. It's different wheat than it was
Yes.
30, 40 years ago. And it's not unless we go back to the very old varieties of wheat that we
Yes.
would have less gluten. So there's so many different factors, aren't there, that is affecting your health. It's such a huge topic. Let's talk about this again, Gitanjali, because we have only
Definitely.
just scratched the surface, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We will do another one.
Perfect. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on and explaining just about SIBO and about how it affects the body, and of course, how homeopathy can help just rebalance and reset.
Thank you for having me, Mary.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Well, that has given us lots of food for thought, hasn't it? And lots of interesting questions I think are going to come out of that. Now, next week, I'm going to be talking to Barbara Hanashova, and Barbara is actually a midwife as well as a homeopath. So I know that you're going to have lots of questions to ask. She is also a lactation consultant, so definitely the right person to have on board if you are expecting. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.